Hello and welcome to Recommerce Intelligence. I'm Emma Herrod and I'm joined today by two guests who are involved in a project to develop a deposit return scheme for clothes, something that will extend into resale as well. So, hi, Elina, Sienna. Can I ask you both to introduce yourselves and the companies that you're working with?
Hello. Yes, I'm Elina Ilén, and I'm representing Technical Research Center of Finland, VTT, and we are the coordinator of the project. So I'm the leader of this project.
Thank you. Sienna?
Hi all, my name is Sienna Kruk. I'm the CEO of Emmy clothing company. So Emmy is a Recommerce marketplace that focuses on premium secondhand fashion mostly. And we operate with the full service business model, meaning that we serve the consumers who want to sell and the consumers who want to buy and do the heavy lifting for them, meaning handling the pricing, the logistics and the resale for them.
Thank you. So textile waste, huge issue in Europe and elsewhere. And I know it's one of the key industries the EU is targeting with circularity legislation. Elina, can you explain more about the overall issue and the project's position with regards to the EU's direction of travel for circularity? And for our audience, sort of the relevance this has to recommerce and secondhand resale.
Mm. Yeah, so EU's let's say waste strategy includes that we should start to reuse more and more clothes before recycling them, and these kind of initiatives will aim to increase this collection rate of garments, but not for recycling only, but before that reusing them. And as a curiosity, I could say that each consumer, each citizen in EU, they produce 16 kilos of waste every year, and only 4 of them are going to be reused or recycled. So meaning that 11 kilos goes to landfill or in incineration. And that is the trend we doesn't want to, or EU doesn't want to continue. So this is the one issue we want to tackle with our project, and also make it a consumer-friendly way, because consumer has to have a motivation to put their garments into TexMat solution, not to landfill.
Yeah, so you've been granted 6 million euros in funding, I believe, from the EU for pilot projects. So can you explain a bit further about what the project actually entails? Who is involved? Because I know there are more parties involved in the project than the two of you. And what are you hoping to achieve or discover over the timeline?
So the main issue in this let's say reuse and resale business, we feel, is that it's so complicated to the consumer at the moment. So you have your used textiles, but you need to select first that if they are going to recycling or if they still have a resale value. Also, you need to decide that in which marketplace place your clothes are suitable for. So that is a big issue in this hectic world, that parents and families, they don't do that. I could say that in Finland, we have this kind of bottle return deposit system already. And the collection rate of those bottles are over 90%. So that's why we believe that if something similar, that you can bring whatever bottles into that solution, would also work for clothing. So our aim is that this kind of solution would be general in all EU countries, and the coverage would be very good, because that's also important, that it's easy to access. Not only that you can put all your clothes in one location, one system, but also that they are well covered in every supermarket, let's say. or or mall.
Yeah, that's interesting because recycling plastic bottles or glass bottles has got to be inherently easier than whatever textiles or clothes that people are going to put into a large container. So how is that going to work?
Yeah, so definitely. So first of all, the problem is that even though you have a garment, the condition is a big thing. Not necessarily how old it is, but what is the condition of garment. And we know that that can be vary a lot. So sometimes 1 year old garment can be in a bad condition, or in very, very good condition. So that is one thing that our solution with automatically detect that what is the condition, but also and using AI technology for that. So that is like a big development work that we get that into system that it automatically divides these garments into 2 streams, either recycling or reselling. So in addition to that, we're gonna use this digital product passport, which is also coming thanks to EU legislation. But that gives us actually opportunity to collect data, important data, relevant data, which can help us to divide these garments into the right stream. So what kind of data we can save into each garment is, for instance, brand, product type, color, size. And so combining all this data with this material info as well, and this, let's say, AI-based condition model, we can then accurately make the decision on behalf of consumer.
So once everything has been sorted, it will then be sent through to different channels, hence bringing in sort of Emmy and your experience on resale and consumers selling things on secondhand.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, if I continue from what Elina just said, that, for example, our role in this project is that as we sit very closely in the operational reality of Recommerce, we see at scale what actually circulates, what holds value, and where the value is lost. And with the automated solution, we are able to, of course, in the beginning, we give the expertise to make the automated solution work. But then once it works, then it's easy for us operators in Recommerce, for example, to get what we need. So, for example, in Emmy's case, as we are focusing on the premium brands and clothing, we could withdraw like those items that we know that sell in our marketplace, for example, and whatever it is with the with other brands or focus or whatever. So we need this type of automated solution that enables the scaling for all operators. Because the issue here is that as we are operating with unique items, if we compare this business to linear model, for example, they can order items from a warehouse, from manufacturer. We don't have that warehouse anywhere. All the items already exist, but we just need to activate those in bulk, like big volumes in one time. And if we make that easy for the customers, then of course we get the volumes through the automation, and then that we all operators in the secondhand business, we get the benefit from that.
So is the thinking here then that once you resell an item, that the consumer will get money back as they would do currently with the concierge model that you run on your marketplace? And how do you know who the consumer was that owned that product, that put it into the garment collection process?
Yeah, we are also, as part of the project, we are developing, whether it's a mobile app, some solution that how do we identify the customer, and eventually how we are connected, for example, operators in the Recommerce, how we are connected to the customer. But then again, it's also a matter of what type of deposit system are we launching here. So that's where EPR, for example, comes in. So as we are in the beginning of the project, it's hard to say what the actual solutions and models will be, but obviously that is one key part of the project that our job is to evaluate, like, how do we combine EPR with the deposit system, but also like business models in the Recommerce. So I'm just thinking, for example, EPR can also play a big role. Instead of like a tax, it can work as a brand signal, for example, if it works as part of the deposit system. So basically, it could be something like one part of the incentive is the deposit, and obviously the producer can or maybe could impact the size of the incentive or the amount of deposit. But then, of course, the consumer could get part of the profit from the resale. So it can be a combination, but obviously we don't know yet. And it's all part of the scope that we try to evaluate. How do we make this beneficial for all partners included?
And to add, we have also been thinking that once we know that EPR is for producers, so like Sienna said, that how these producers will benefit from this solution, it could be that because every clothing has this tag, and so we know that how long that garment has been in use and how many times it has been resold, and then the longevity can be one marker to decrease the fee of the producer, for instance. So then it makes like important to producer to think of longevity in design and materials, for instance. So we hope that, like Sienna said, that we can provide incentives for each stakeholder of value chain here.
So the EPR will actually be more relevant for brands then than simply being the trigger for the tax.
Yes. It's at the moment how EU is thinking this EPR. It's a tax or fee for producers, and of course there should be ways for producers how to decrease the fee per each garment. So probably this solution can be one to show that, for instance, longevity of one garment.
Because what's actually the timing on bringing in digital product passports? Because it's not something that people have to put in the garments at the moment, is it? Isn't it just pilot projects that some brands are running?
Yeah, that's true, and also in this way, because there is a lot of talk about DPP and pros and cons, and of course a lot of like thinking of cons, because then producers, they are thinking that it's like more job, they need to insert data, they need to take care of data they put in, and concretely how to integrate, what kind of DPP will be, so which technology will be used. So when we started to think of and initiate this concept, we also wanted to take good things out of this DPP. So making business, how this can improve this DPP, your business also. And in this way, we see that this data is then valuable for the stakeholders in value chain, that we can make business via that, through that. What comes to integration into garments, so we are developing that as well, that we need to be sure that it's durably integrated, and it's kind of invisible that way that you can't remove it. But I believe that because we make the incentive for consumer and not to remove it, otherwise there's no resale value. You kind of destroy that if you take that off. That's also about communicating that what is it and what's for. But also, like we have like you said, that it's not yet in every garment. So that's why we want to develop the technology that we can put it that also to old garments, that we can take those old garments also to the system of TexMat. and get this resale value from it as well. Of course, not all the data can be inserted, but that's for sure that maybe the data is not always that's important in that case. So because we have this condition model as well to support that evaluation.
Okay, so you can look at the grading and sorting in more traditional ways or using AI and things like that rather than just what's on that digital product passport.
Yeah, that's for sure, and that's why we don't want to talk about TexMat machine or TexMat container, because that gives like a wrong association that it's some kind of box on the street. No, it's a automated solution which has let's say high tech inside in order to make this collecting process very simple and easy to the consumer, but also a second-hand marketer.
Okay. And the project's also going to be running in Spain as well as Finland, is that right?
Yes, about partners. So we are, let's say, covered many countries of Europe, and but these pilots, they are going to be taking place in Spain and Finland at least. And why is that? We are let's say extreme ends of EU in certain way, and we know that we also have different consuming habits of clothing, but also weather conditions, for instance. So we have we are like enough extreme countries, so that's why we need to cover like each country in that sense that we can prove that our solution fits to everybody.
Okay, and talking about everybody brings us back to consumer behaviour and how people are actually buying and selling second-hand clothes now, and whether this is actually going to change behaviour in any ways. So
Yeah, well, I think that's the most interesting part of this this project is that, for example, well, Emmy has been in the market for 10 years now, a decade. And what we have done in order to make this work is that we have tried to build the infrastructure so that it would be as easy as possible for the customer. We have these drop boxes, so you just drop off your clothes and we take care of the rest. And that's basically why we have used this, actually the same idea we hear that Emmy, we are aiming to be as easy as returning bottles. And that's where the TexMat comes in, that now we as a standalone operator have tried to build an infrastructure, but then again, it's only infrastructure that's built for, let's say, Finland or Estonia or whatever country we choose to be in. But if we have this one solution that covers, for example, the entire Europe, then it becomes the ultimately easy solution for the customer. And I would never underestimate the power of convenience. So I believe people want to make the right decisions, but then again, if there's friction in any way, it's not that easy. People are just busy. So let's say if you have one or two garments you want to sell, then of course these self-selling platforms, they're really good. And nowadays it's really good that we have different options. But then again, if you want to sell dozens of garments, it becomes time consuming, and also the market is nowadays quite fragmented. So it's also like cognitive load when you try to compare where this goes, what do I do with this one? So all that friction we are aiming to get rid of with the TexMat solution, that the customer ultimately wouldn't need to think about basically anything else, that just knowing where the closest TexMat solution drop point is. And I believe this is the key, like the convenience here, that you only need to remember one thing.
yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, as you say, you can't over-egg that reason of convenience for consumers, because they will do that. They've shown that with when they go and collect things that they've ordered online as well. If they go past a pickup point that's on their way to work, they'll go to that one. Whereas if there isn't one, then they won't use that delivery method and things like that. So
Yes.
need to make it easy and frictionless for them, and the incentive of money for their items as well.
Yeah, and also to add that it's very difficult to consumer to decide whether their clothes are useful for someone or not, or are they waste. So that's also one decision they always need to make. And because then some secondhand marketers, of course, if you bring them or send them some which is waste, they should then compensate that somehow, the hand work they are now making. So from secondhand marketer side, we also try to eliminate this handwork as much as possible, that they can collect only those garments they know are valuable for their business. Like Sienna talked about different marketplaces, that's also a mess for the consumer, because there are different waste profiled companies, of course. And I do believe that in the future, like standard stores we have, they have own profile and own consumers. So similarly, secondhand business, if you need sport clothes, or if you need kids clothes, or whatever branded clothes, you know where to search from. So at the moment, as a consumer who has this wardrobe to be sold again, so should know that where to, let's say, offer these clothes, and that's a mess that TexMat will also solve.
Interesting. And what's your actual timeline on the project? Is it 2027 at some point?
No. It will end in March 29.
29.
And yeah, but of course, before that, we will conduct these pilots in Finland and Spain. That then we will see like tangible results of technology and accuracy of the system, and some kind of outlook, and of course user scenarios are, let's say, become true.
And where do you see being sort of the biggest challenges and areas that you need to develop? Is it going to be a technology issue, or is it going to be a consumer issue, for example?
Yeah, so like I said, the concept is very, very simple in that sense that everybody can understand the concept. But when we comes to the technology and also business model, so it's quite complicated, and everything must and will start from business model, like discussed earlier, that each stakeholder must have incentive and have to get profit out of it, and also in somehow that it's not used like in a wrong way, and we need to establish somehow membership or community around it, and we need to think of that who are the let's say players who will organize and manage this system and so on. And then when we go to technology, we are quite confident with that, because those technologies we are using, they are like pieces of them are already there, but we are now kind of only putting them in different order and combine these technologies together. Of course, we know that integration of data is not that easy always.
It always sounds easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds easy. Yes. Yeah, but anyway, yes, there is challenges, and that's why EU is funding us, because they also understand that if we succeed well, which we really believe, it's a remarkable thing, significant solution, but there is also risks. So that's why we need EU funding.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and obviously keep us updated on the project as it develops, and we'll be able to update our audience. So again, thank you very much for joining us on the Recommerce Intelligence.
Thank
you.